Hello, I'm Hovik Manucharyan, and welcome to another collaboration between Groong podcast and 168 Hours. We're doing this in order to increase the English language coverage of the humanitarian disaster that's going on in Artsakh right now, and today is day 16. My guest today is Benyamin Poghosyan, who is the chairman of the Yerevan-based think tank Center for Political and Economic Strategic Studies. Hello, Benyamin, glad to have you on this studio.
Hello, Hovik. Thanks for having me.
Benjamin, you're probably one of the most frequent guests of our Groong podcast. I haven't checked if you're the most popular guest, but I remember having many conversations with you regarding the ongoing geopolitical developments. And specifically, I think it was about a year ago when you were telling us that the government in Armenia believes that, to quote you, Artsakh is lost, and the maximum that these people can hope for is to live in de jure Azerbaijan, but de facto Russian-controlled protectorate. Part of me didn't want to believe that, but that Russian-controlled part is also now sort of almost in question. How did we get to this? I mean, do you believe that this is sort of, was this a surprise to you to end up in the situation we are today? Can you maybe paint an overall picture of what's happening for us?
Okay, it's a very complicated task to picture or to frame an overall picture, because there is some intersection of different actors, different interests, regional and even global, and the war in Ukraine, which started in February 2022, even made the situation more complicated. But on a local level, if you look at it from Armenia-Azerbaijan perspective, or Armenia-Azerbaijan and Nagorno-Karabakh Republic perspective, everything is very clear. Azerbaijan believes that, okay, he won the war in 2020, and he wants to fix the results of the war, not in a trilateral statement, but in a document which will have some legal binding force. That is why Azerbaijan wants that, okay, guys, you lost the war, now you have to sign an agreement, you have to accept that there is no Nagorno-Karabakh anymore. This is number one priority for Azerbaijan. There is no Nagorno-Karabakh as a territorial administrative unit anymore. Armenia should accept this, and Armenia should accept that anything related with Armenians living in Nagorno-Karabakh is a pure issue, internal issue of Azerbaijan, between Azerbaijani government and Armenian community of Azerbaijan, or between Azerbaijani government and Azerbaijani citizens of Armenian ethnic origin. It's something like Americans of Armenian ethnic origin or Canadians of Armenian ethnic origin. So this is number one requirement or demand from Azerbaijan. Number two, that Armenia should provide access via Armenia to Nakhichevan and Turkey, which, according to Azerbaijani perception, should be de facto exterritorial corridor. De jure, they are telling no, of course, no exterritoriality, it should be under Armenian jurisdiction, but what they want and what they understand under the term of corridor, it means de facto extraterritorial corridor. So, how to reach this? They understand that, okay, guys, you are weak, you lost the war, you are now in a perpetual circle of domestic instability, and also your military is weak. So it was weak before 2020 war, now it's much more weakened. So we first of all will use the military blackmail, we will escalate as far as you will agree to our demands. And second issue, or second way, if this is not going to happen, if for whatever reasons Armenia is not going to sign, and even if Armenia signs but the population of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic tells that, okay guys, I'm not a part of Azerbaijan and we are not Azerbaijani citizens of Armenian origins, the second way to solve this issue from Azerbaijani perspective, to force Armenians out from Nagorno-Karabakh. So from this perspective, if we look back for this past, I believe, already 25 months, starting from November 2020, what is Azerbaijan is doing is very logical from their perspective. Yes, it's cynical, it's non-humanistic and racial, and we may use many other words to say very bad and negative things what Azerbaijan is doing. But from Azerbaijani perspective, they have clear goal, and they are doing steps to reach their goal. So from this perspective, nothing should surprise us. Regarding their decision to block the Lachin corridor, Azerbaijan was always thinking about putting some control over Lachin corridor. We hear the statements that weapons are being smuggled or transported from via Lachin corridor, mines or some other illegal goods. And Azerbaijan was threatening by the level of president. Said, okay, we will impose a checkpoint, or we will establish a checkpoint along the Lachin corridor. But Azerbaijan understood very well that, okay, if they will install a checkpoint, military checkpoint, most probably Russia will react. I'm not sure who gave Azerbaijan this advice, but definitely I don't believe that Azerbaijan is decided to this. Definitely they got some advice from abroad. It could be from Turkey or from other countries. We all know whom they are collaborating very actively with. That, okay guys, why you are going to put military checkpoint which will provide Russia a legitimate base to use force? Let's organize something like another color revolution or velvet revolution. Civilian people protesting about environment, singing, dancing, I don't know, putting tents and etc. Excellent move, which automatically deprive Russia from any possibility to use force. Because how we can imagine that Russian soldiers are using force, I'm even not speaking about shooting these guys, but simply disperse them, using force against Azerbaijani citizens who, according to all over the world, including Republic of Armenia's official positions, they are on Azerbaijani territory. So it's a very smart move. Non-violent civilian non-obedience movement, if you call it by terms, which deprive Russia from any possibility to use force, because any force used by Russia, it will be shooting or it will be simple disbursement, like if peacekeepers will try to act like a riot police and disperse the persons. This will automatically first give Azerbaijan right, from Azerbaijani perspective, to deploy troops, because they will tell, look, Azerbaijani citizens are being killed or wounded or persecuted or whatever else in Azerbaijani territory. Second, definitely it will create huge complications in Azerbaijan-Russia relations. And third, it will create complications in Russia-Turkey relations. But we all should understand one thing very well. As far as war goes on in Ukraine, Russia needs Turkey. Russia needs even Turkish balanced approach. Yes, Turkey provides also weapons to Ukraine, Bayraktars, etc., etc. But Turkey has a balanced approach, and Russia needs this balanced approach. So from Azerbaijani perspective, it's almost an ideal scenario. Russians are not able to use force because this is a civilian movement. And second, even if Russians at the end of the day decided to use force, it will definitely create tensions, if not crisis, in Russia-Turkey relations, on which Russia has zero in interest.
When we were talking about the corridor again a year ago almost, you were saying that one of the reasons why Azerbaijan took over the Goris-Kapan highway was to force Armenia to provide a corridor, and if that didn't happen, there were several also steps culminating with the closure of the Lachin corridor. And I guess is that game still in play? Do you believe that Azerbaijan gets what it wants in terms of the so-called Zangezur corridor, call off its protesters on the Berzor or Lachin corridor?
My understanding is that maybe at the end of the day this protest will end. I don't believe this will continue for 1 year. But again, the key strategic goal of Azerbaijan even is not the corridor, but is the Nagorno-Karabakh, because there is a perception in Armenia that they want corridor more than Nagorno-Karabakh. So if we made concessions on the issue of Nagorno-Karabakh, they will say, okay, let's forget about corridor. No, there is no trade between Nagorno-Karabakh and corridor, and we should not think that, okay, Azerbaijan demands two things, let's give one to Azerbaijan and save another, because I believe that there is such a perception in Armenia that, okay, if we are forced to give both corridor and Nagorno-Karabakh, but if there is a hypothetical choice, we should give Nagorno-Karabakh or corridor, because corridor is the territory of Republic of Armenia, because corridor will cut our connection with Iran. Better to give up on Nagorno-Karabakh, but not give up on corridor. But the issue is not here. The number one strategic goal of Azerbaijan is Nagorno-Karabakh, but it does not mean that after digesting Nagorno-Karabakh, they will forget about corridor. And we hear from Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev that they will not forget even about the Yerevan. This guy is clearly, publicly stating that it was a crime to give Yerevan to Republic of Armenia. It was a crime to kick out Azerbaijanis from their historical lands, Yerevan, Syunik, Vayodor regions, Gegarkunik regions. Most probably he will reach even to, I don't know, Tavush, Lori and Shirak regions. And this guy is very clear that, okay, we will do everything. First, Azerbaijanis should return, and here we are speaking about hundreds of thousands of Azerbaijanis. And I would like to say that if before 2024 Aliyev was speaking that, okay, Azerbaijani flag will be in Shushi, many people were mocking him, telling that, okay, this is something for internal audience, this guy has nothing to do with war, he's a soft guy, because he has a very powerful parent, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately for us, 25 months, Azerbaijani and even Turkish flags are in Shushi. So first of all, we should take very carefully what Aliyev is telling. And this guy is telling that, okay, we almost have solved the Nagorno-Karabakh issue. Now we should deal with Republic of Armenia. And this is very clear. And second, as I mentioned, if even this protest will end, the main task, immediate task for Azerbaijan is to kick out as much Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh as possible. So let's look to the situation. First time they blocked the road for 3-4 hours. Now road is blocked for 16 days. Okay, let's assume the blockade will end or will last some 25 days. But what message is sending to Nagorno-Karabakh, Armenians living in Nagorno-Karabakh? First closure, 4 hours. Second closure, let's assume 25 days. Third closure will be 60 days. So if you are wise and if you are smart enough, you should use this window between the end of second closure and the beginning of third closure to get out from Nagorno-Karabakh. Because if, let's assume during the second closure somehow you survive because you have some, I don't know, you have some warehouses where you have bread, something to keep your functionality. If we'll close the road next time for 2 months, you will be starved simply. So this is a very clear message, and I believe that even in this case, Azerbaijanis may not even close the road officially third time. Just imagine they are opening the road, and then there are rumors that, for example, on February 1st, 2023, Azerbaijan is going to close the road for 2 months. You can imagine what people in Nagorno-Karabakh will feel when they were told that, okay, within several weeks, the road is going to be closed for another 2 months. I will blame no one from Nagorno-Karabakh if this guy will say, okay, if no one is taking care of us, at least let's jump these several, even not in a 100, like from Stepanaker to Goris is, I believe, 100 kilometers, even 90 kilometers. So Azerbaijani strategy is this. Okay, first, Armenia should recognize there is no Nagorno-Karabakh as a territorial administrative unit. Second, we should have as less Armenians as possible in Nagorno-Karabakh, because many Azerbaijani experts are speaking about this. Look, guys, we managed, of course, they don't say we managed to kick out Armenians from Nakhichevan, but they are telling, look, in 1988, when Karabakh movement started, why there was no movement in Nakhichevan from their perspective? Because there were no Armenians. So they believe that, okay, if there was 0 Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh in February 1988, we all understand there will be no Nagorno-Karabakh movement. So from their perspective, there will be no problems. So it's very clear strategy that, okay, no Armenians, no problems. The problem for us here is that we do not have clear strategy, because as I mentioned, there are different perceptions here. Some people or some circles are telling, okay, because we lost the war, we should suffer. So if Azerbaijan demands 2 things, Nagorno-Karabakh and corridor, let's give up one, even regardless, it will be corridor or Nagorno-Karabakh, but keep another. This is one perception. The second perception is that no, Azerbaijan will digest Nagorno-Karabakh, then Syunik, then Vayadzor, and all this will end up in Yerevan, so we should don't give up anything, we should try to resist, but there is a problem here, but are we able to resist? This is a totally different question. But this is the second option. No, we should not give up neither on corridor nor on Nagorno-Karabakh, because Azerbaijan is not going to be satisfied. But also there is a third option that, okay, at the end of the day, we should somehow normalize our relation with Azerbaijan and Turkey, so that we should not be under the constant pressure or threat of new war, and etc., etc. So let's normalize our relation with Azerbaijan and Turkey. And then here we are jumping into the global geopolitics, especially now, the rivalry between Russia and the West, especially Russia and the United States, with US clear visions that, okay, Russia should be kicked out from South Caucasus. And in this perspective, probably Americans are coming to us and telling that, okay, guys, we are happy to see no Russians here. But what does it mean, no Russians here? No Russians here, it means that if Armenia agrees that there should be no Russians in South Caucasus, or at least in Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh, Armenia, first of all, should normalize relation with Azerbaijan and Turkey. Otherwise, it makes no sense. That is why Americans are very active, trying that, okay, guys, let's somehow normalize your relation with Azerbaijan and Turkey, and then it will allow us also to force Russians out here. So this is a third perception, that we need normalized relation with Azerbaijan and Turkey. We cannot live under the constant threat of new attacks. But for this, if we are normalizing relation with Azerbaijan and Turkey, most probably it means that also we are saying goodbye to Russians. This is a sort of perception, also mixed with global geopolitics.
Thank you. You actually answered many of the questions that I wanted to ask. But I do want to clarify, what is the basis for you to essentially assert that U.S. wants, I mean, how certain is the position that the U.S. really wants Russia out of the region? I mean, is there possibly that you could be there could be a compromise reached, and I'm not sure or are those wheels in motion already, in your opinion?
Okay, as far as I understand, as far as the current administration is in the Washington, and the next presidential elections will take place in November 2024. I'm not going to go into details who can win. People are telling that, okay, if Democrats cannot find any younger candidate, okay, Biden, some 82 years old, it's a little bit strange, but also we do not know who can win from Republican side. Many, before these midterm elections, saw that Trump will come back. But because of these not very impressive results of the Republicans, now, as far as I understand, many Republicans are telling that no, we should find the new guys. There is a discussion about the Florida governor, but let's not go into the domestic politics of the United States. But as far as there is no president in the United States, and the Biden, in any case, will be president of the United States until at least January 2025. I don't believe that there will be any significant change in US policy towards Russia, and US policy towards Russia is this. First of all, Russia should be weakened as much as possible through the continuing war in Ukraine. Second, Russia should be kicked out from as much territories of former Soviet space as possible, including South Caucasus.
On this issue of relations with the West, indeed, there has been a flurry of public gestures from the Armenian side towards West, whether it's sort of, going to Prague, for instance, to discuss, to negotiate with Azerbaijan versus Moscow. But for instance, like French parliamentarian Valérie Boyer said that she lamented why hold the Francophonie in Yerevan? Why do we tell Armenians that they are brothers and sisters when we're going to let them remain alone with their dictatorial neighbors? So what guarantees can the West provide Armenia? Even if we assume that this is the goal, I don't see anything on the table that Armenia could take to the bank in terms of ensuring its future security in this region without Russia.
First of all, we should clarify by saying Armenia, we understand this very profound 29,800 square kilometer, often quoted by our leadership. Then we understand also Republic of Armenia plus Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh, with currently these 3,000 square kilometers, mostly under the Russian control. Mm-hmm. If by telling Armenia we understand Armenia plus Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, West is not able to provide any guarantees to us regarding the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, because Azerbaijani position is very clear. If Russian peacekeepers leave Nagorno-Karabakh, they will never ever allow any other international military presence in Nagorno-Karabakh. Yeah. No UN peacekeeping operations, no OSCE peacekeeping operations, and I can assure you that no country or no international organization will ever send troops to Nagorno-Karabakh against Azerbaijani will. This is simply not going to happen.
But the other scenario, I'm not arguing this, but let's say that we take this cynical approach that we somehow sell off Artsakh, and we are just like the 29,800 square kilometers in Armenia. Who is going to provide the security if we, can we, essentially, is Turkey going to sort of provide our security?
Okay, here is also very complicated, because it's not just saying, okay, let's kick out Russia from South Caucasus. If Armenia is kicking out Russia from South Caucasus, it means that Armenia becoming enemy of Russia. Yes. And Russia is quite strong, and automatically having such an enemy as Russia is complicated. Second, let's not forget about Iran. If we are becoming pro-West, or we are becoming another launchpad or proxy of the United States in this region, and we have a border with Iran, it means that Iran is automatically becoming anti-Armenian. So here, in this case, even it's not issue of who will secure our security from Azerbaijan and Turkey, but another issue, who is going to provide guarantees against some possible actions by Russia and Iran. Because again, if we are playing the game of the West to help them to kick out Russia from South Caucasus, it means that automatically we are becoming enemy of Russia and we are becoming enemy of Iran. So even if we forget about Azerbaijan and Turkey, this is not the very best scenario for Armenia to be an enemy of Russia and Iran. But here also there is an issue. Okay, we are supporting West. We are supporting West to kick out Russia from South Caucasus. We have very bad relations with Russia and with Iran. In that case, whom we are going to rely? The logical answer is on Azerbaijan and Turkey, because most probably you are not able to rely on Georgia to balance Russia and Iran. So from the science fiction scenario that Armenia is using Azerbaijan and Turkey to balance against Russia and Iran. So theoretically, how is this possible? In theory, everything is possible. But on the best case scenario, if there will be Armenians in this territory called the Republic of Armenia, and even Republic of Armenia will continue to exist, it will be Republic of Armenia, not even under the Turkish influence, I will say under the Azerbaijani influence, because frankly speaking, we are too small to be under Turkish influence. Turkish ambitions are much bigger. They think about entire Central Asia, Eastern Mediterranean, Middle East, the Western Balkans, and etc. So in this scenario, yes, West may provide us guarantees that, okay, there will be no genocide, there will be no ethnic cleansing, and there will be mass rapes. Sorry for this. But yes, in this case, Armenia should rely on Azerbaijan and be something like a junior partner of Azerbaijan, by being junior partner of Azerbaijan, trying to defend itself or balance against Russia and Iran. I don't think that this is a good scenario.
I don't think anyone here, at least, agrees. So you don't believe that there is a political party in Armenia that carries the flag of the United States and Iran at the same time? You don't think that's possible in the future?
You can carry out whatever flags. You can simultaneously carry out not only US and Iran. I can carry out simultaneously Israel and Iran flags. I don't know, Venezuela and United States flag, or I can carry out the North Korea and South Korea flag, or North Korean and Japan flags.
Chinese and Taiwanese.
Yes, Chinese and Taiwanese flag. But it's not issue of the flags. There is a clear fact that from Iranian perspective, as far as Iran has a very, very complicated relation with United States and Israel, and I'm afraid this is not going to end very soon. And very soon this may continue for decades. We see this rivalry for, I believe, 43 years, starting from 1979 Islamic Revolution. So, as far as Iran is here, if we are becoming proxy of the United States, you are automatically becoming the enemy of Iran. And because if you are becoming proxy of the United States and starting to support the US to kick out Russia from South Caucasus, you are automatically becoming the enemy of Russia. And if Armenia is the enemy of Iran and Russia, the only powers on which you can somehow balance is Turkey and Azerbaijan. Of course, mostly Turkey, because Azerbaijan itself is too small to balance against Russia and Iran, and Turkey has some connection with the United States. Also, it's very complicated to set at the end of the day both things. Erdogan is balancing between US and Russia. Still, he's a strategic ally of Russia, or he thinks only about his power and money, and he does not give any cent neither to geopolitics nor to different isms, pan-Turkism, pan-Islamism, whatever ism. But regardless of what Mr. Erdogan wants, at least if you want to balance Iran and Russia, and if you are perceived by Iran and Russia as an enemies, you should mostly rely on Turkey. But because you are too small and Turkey is too big, then Turkey will delegate these requirements or responsibilities to protect Armenia from Iran and Russia to Azerbaijan. So again, theoretically it's possible, but frankly speaking, it's very difficult to imagine myself that, for example, Armenia is protected by Azerbaijan and Turkey against Iran and Russia. Again, it could be that Americans will say, okay, no genocide, no ethnic cleansing, no mass killings, okay, live here and enjoy the life somehow. But frankly speaking, it's not the scenario which I like, at least.
Right. Well, it's a thankless task, but you have been right in the past. Do you want to offer us some predictions, since it's also the end of the year? What will happen in Ukraine? What will happen in the region maybe in 2024? Is it continued instability, or is there a light in the end of the tunnel?
Okay, in Ukraine, as far as I understand, there is a deadlock. At least from Europe perspective. Europe, they are not interested in a long war, but also they are not interested to freeze conflict now because they have zero trust on Russia. They believe, what are the guarantees that if we freeze the conflict and signing a Minsk free, then Russia will not use this, and after 1 or 2 years will not launch new attack. So this is also not a good scenario, but also they understand that neither Russia nor Ukraine can have a quick victory. So from European perspective, this is deadlock. Long war is not good, freezing conflict is not good, and there are no options for quick victory for one of the sides. And from the United States, my understanding is that clearly Americans are telling that they are very happy to transform Ukraine into next Afghanistan for Russia, or something as for Afghanistan for Soviet Union. And Afghanistan lasts for 10 years. So from American perspective, this conflict, non-stop war with ups and downs of this intensivity military activities for another several years, excellent scenario for United States. Not very good for Europe, but again, because Europe does not understand, okay, again, long war is bad, but everything else is bad. So my understanding is that we will see for the 2023, this war in Ukraine will continue. I don't believe there will be peace agreement. Of course, I don't believe that there will be peace agreement even for decades to come. But I'm afraid that maybe we will not see even a ceasefire. This is for Ukraine. So I will not be surprised if on December 27, 2023, there will be no ceasefire agreement signed between Russia and Ukraine. Regarding Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Nagorno-Karabakh, Azerbaijan will do everything to force Armenia to give it what it wants, and also to force as much Armenians to leave Nagorno-Karabakh as possible. What are the scenarios here for Armenia? Maybe it sounds a little bit tough or dire predictions, but the current situation is very bad for Armenia. But unfortunately, I'm afraid that our best case scenario is to keep the current situation. So you may say that, okay, it's a contradiction. If current situation is quite bad, how it could be best case scenario to do everything to keep quite bad a situation. But my understanding is that any other options or any changes of this very volatile status quo emerged after November 2020 will be even worse than now. So our best case scenario is to keep the current status quo, but which itself is a very negative for Armenia.
All right, our guest was Benyamin Poghosyan. He has been right many times in the past, and I can't say I disagree, but thank you, Benyamin, for your time, and thank you to our viewers. This has been a collaboration between 168 Hours and Groong Podcast. Today is the 16th day of the blockade of Artsakh by Baku, and there seems to be no end in sight, but we do wish for the situation to resolve as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you.